Hey everybody, this video was requested by one of my subscribers, which feels weird to say at this point, but it is the case, so shout out to Domestic Terrorist. um, but Domestic Terrorist just wanted me to do a tutorial breakdown, behind the scenes look, I suppose, at my track Orchestrate. I feel like I should start with the disclaimer, though. This is pretty much everything that I do here in FL Studio. I mean, of course, I watch like tutorials on YouTube every now and again, but for the most part, I'm pretty much self-taught, or at least I find my own solutions to get it to do what I want it to do. So this isn't going to be the most shall we say, professional. This is basically going to be like my version of how I figured out how to do things. So I'm sure there are many better ways to do most of what I do, but what I do works. So, you know, there might be more efficient ways of doing it, though. So just a quick disclaimer for that. But yeah, let's get into it. Where I started with this was with the main chords. I actually took inspiration from Home We're Finally Landing, which is one of the most beautiful synthwave tracks ever created, or chillwave, whatever. I'm not good with genres. Actually, you know what? Let's just play that real quick. Randy doesn't care. Okay, so I wanted to have a chord progression kind of like that, but what I went with is a bit faster. It doesn't exactly sound the same, like the feeling's different, but the structure, the way the chords progress is pretty much the same. It's just faster. See? Whoa. Whoops. Hold on, let's go somewhere where it's more established. So see, it's got the same, like, I don't know. It's got the, like I said, it's got the same feel. It's just different notes. But that's pretty much the only similarity between the two. I just I just started with the chords on this one. I sort of, I don't know. I don't know if it's better to start with the chords or like try to write a melody first and then get the chords from that. I guess you can. It's like working at the problem from different ends, I suppose. Either one works really. Um, but yeah, that's what I did first. Is I did the chords, and then once I got them where I wanted them to be, I started writing stuff on top of it, like layers, basically. Um, so like initially, this track was like there was just layer up here, layer, chords, this bell thing, this bell synth here, um, and I just had it all stacked because I wanted it to be. I wanted everything to fit together from the get-go, and then I could arrange it however I wanted. So I wrote the chords and then wrote everything else around the chords, and then like split it apart, broke it up to arrange it in sections, I suppose you could say. So yeah, once I got the chords going, then I did. I think I went with the. It's been a while. It's been several months. I think I did the bass line next though. Um, yeah. So let me. it's pretty simple. Yeah. If there's one thing that I wish I could have done more, and this is something that I'm still like trying to figure out how to do, is make the bass like really, I don't know, fat, for lack of a better word. It's got like it's functional, but it doesn't have a lot of oomph. Um, like it could just, I don't know. It feels too thin almost. I want it to be more, but that's something I'm still working on. If you have any tips, leave them in the comments. Anyway, so yeah, I did the chords. I think I did the bass line next. This is just a sub that I think I originally just had the bass line, but then I wanted, like I said, I wanted more, so I just put a sub under it, and it's not really moving anywhere. It's just constant. But yeah, it just follows the same pattern. So then once I had the chords and the bass, I think I was focusing on the lead after that, the lead melody. Because like I said, I wanted everything to go together and then separate it out later. So here's what the lead is. A lot of reverb on that. And then I had this bell synth over here. So this is actually, I think most of the synths in this song are actually this plugin, the Arturia Mini V, which is a digital reconstruction of the Moog Mini. So there's so many presets on this, and usually what I like to do is I like to find, if I'm not like just building a sound from scratch or trying to, I'll go through the presets, see if anything sounds good, and if it's something I want to use, maybe I'll try and modify it a bit so it fits a bit more of what I wanted it to be. But this one, just sounds so nice. Like it's so, I don't know, like it's it's really cool. So I think I just used it as is. Well, maybe not. There's an asterisk here. Maybe I modified it a little bit, but not too much, I don't think. So anyway, I found this bell synth, and I did the counter melody to the lead, and it sounds like this. It's a nice little ringing melody there. And then, oh, actually, I forgot. So towards the end, there's this arpeggiation that goes on. This I actually, now that I'm remembering, I actually made this after the chords. I didn't know what to do with it, but it sounded really cool. So here's what I'm talking about. Let's make sure this starts right. Let's go up to pattern. So for this one, that is another instance of the Mini V, of course, but it is set to arpeggiate. Yeah, so it's set in the arpeggiator mode. It's set here, and it does 2 octaves this speed. I mean, really, you just play with this to do whatever you want. But basically, in this mode, you have your notes, and whatever notes you set, it will arpeggiate them automatically. So if I just tried to play this chord here, see? So once you figure out like the speed you want it to go at, then it just becomes a game of, okay, how do I get my chords set up so that they last the proper amount of time to make it go where I want it to go, basically. So yeah, that was the second thing I wrote down. I didn't know what to do with it, so I just kind of had it off to the side while I did the lead and the bell and everything else. And then I was like, well, wait, like it has this sort of building energy to it already. What if I did some fancy work with the filters and effects and everything else? That's what all of this all of this automation here is. What if I did that to like really emphasize the build-up, and I had that lead up to this big ending thing, whatever that's going to end up looking like. So that was the thought initially, and eventually it turned into this section, but we'll get to that later. So I got the chords, got the lead, got the little bell counter melody, got the bass going, and from there I just started, I like tried to decide where I wanted it to start. And that's when I had the idea, okay, well, this, starting with the main synth chords, like it could, but I did that on my other track, Send Off, the first track of this EP, and so I was like, yeah, I want to do something else. I want to try something else. So what I did was I took the bell synth over here, and I just took the chords, copy and pasted them into the bell synth. And it sounded really cool. So I made that the beginning. I just made the beginning the little bell synth. It's got a little bit of a cutoff automation to have it start a little bit softer and then come out as the song goes on. And then I took the lead synth because I wanted to introduce that early as well, and I just did this simple little, here, let's zoom in here, just this simple little arpeggiation with it. Or not arpeggiation, but scale, I suppose, technically. I did a lot of reverb on it, but I have it controlled I have it controlled with automation, so it's not that bad. But I did want it, since there's only two things, or initially there was only two things playing here. I wanted the sound to be full. And I'm doing some crazy panning, so it goes all around your head, which I probably could have calmed that down a bit, but I think it sounds kind of cool. So yeah, let's just mute this real quick, because I put that in later. So this is how it initially started. Just the little bell. And then there's a hint of the lead. More of the lead. And the main chords start to come in now to give it more volume. And the bass comes in. Got some white noise up here. I guess this would be a good point to talk about the drums. So it's a very simple drum loop. I did it all in the little pattern thing up here. it's not special. My drums, I need to work on my drums, honestly. I don't I'm not a drummer. I don't do a whole lot with rhythms. Um, so it's just a very like it's nothing fancy at all. And that's literally the only drum loop. I don't think I did anything. Nope. Yeah, that's it. Drums just do that forever. Wait, what is this? Oh, that's the cymbal, right? Okay. Yeah, so the I need to make better drums. I really do. That's a problem I need to work on. I should do one. I should do a track that's like just drums, just to get comfortable with drums or something. That'd be a good idea, probably. Anyway, so sad drums aside, once I started really assembling the track, arranging the way I wanted it to go, I realized I didn't have a lot of stuff going on in like the top frequency end. So I got another instance of the Mini V here, and what it's doing, if we pull this up, so what it's doing is just way up high, like the top of its range. It's just doing a little arpeggiation again. So, oh, that's too low. Sorry, I have it filtered. Oh, actually, I don't have my keyboard plugged in right now, so I cannot go high enough for this to be heard. Yeah. It's very, very faint there. Oh, I'm dumb. See? See, you can see it there. Just a little tiny bit. Yeah, I had it filtered out because I didn't want it screwing up with anything else. I just wanted it to be like occupying that area and nothing else. But anyway, we come in here and do that because this is within that EQ limit. So it's just very, very quietly adding a little bit of just something up in that high end to fill that out a bit. It's very subtle for the most part. But you can hear it, those little tinkling bells up at the top. Just to add a little bit of flavor, right? Just to add something there so it's doesn't sound quite so flat, was my thought process. So that's what that is. This up here is just managing white noise. So there's a little bit of just an increase whenever a new section starts, just so there's some like falling energy into it. Yeah, so this is just the big build up at the beginning, and then I copied and pasted it and put it at the end too with a little bit of tweaking, I think. Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, that's all this is doing if we just everything. So white noise building, and everything else comes in. And then it kind of settles to this level, and then towards the end, yeah. Again, there's probably a better way to do this, but this works, so that's how I did it. So, yeah, that's basically how everything was arranged. So you got the lead coming in here. That repeats, and then the counter melody comes in. And then, so everything sort of falls off, and then we get the arpeggiation. So let's just do that by itself with all the automation. So there's a whole lot going on here, and obviously you can kind of read what's happening, but basically there's a band of a filter on the effects rack for this. Yeah, so this is I'm just cutting out more of the low end as it goes higher because other things will start to come in and occupy that space. I didn't want them clashing too much. So that's what that one does. This one just affects the panning, so it's kind of moving back and forth around your ears. This just the volume, obviously, so it gets louder because I didn't want it to start at full volume with other things happening. That'd be kind of weird. And then this is controlling. Where is it? This is controlling the reverb. The Valhalla Supermassive is a reverb plugin that's free. Yes, free reverb plugin, and it's pretty cool. It's got some nice effects. A lot of them have built-in delay, which you just got to be careful with it because it is it is very, very easy to put way too much on whatever instrument you're putting it on. So just be careful with that. But this is just automating the mix, so it's not fully there the whole time. These are controlling the level of this, basically, just to bring it in. And then this one, these two actually go to the plugin itself, which again is this. So this one is increasing the cutoff. So the cutoff is the filter, basically, the built-in filter. So as this goes up, more information will be released, I suppose is how I think about it. Basically, so you see up here is sort of a fall off, right? Now that is partly because of my EQing, but if there wasn't EQing, and this little fall off was there, if I increased the frequency, the cutoff frequency, there would be way less of a fall off, basically. There would be more stuff happening in the high end, so this is just cutting out some of that high end down to about 273 hertz, it says. So this is increasing the cutoff from where it is here, and if we actually go here, we can see at the beginning the cutoff is at 166, and then by the end of this automation I have it go up to 720. See? Anyway, all of this serves to make the arpeggiation less boring, because otherwise it wouldn't really go anywhere, it wouldn't change, it would just be well, it'd just be static the whole time. So it'd literally just be this the whole time, right? And that's boring. So instead, we do all of this, and it goes from being changes. There's things happening now. So yeah, that's what all of this is for, just to make the arpeggiation a little bit more interesting. So yeah, that's the bulk of the song, and I got all of that written out, and I was like, I still feel like it's missing something. I don't know what though. I mean, obviously I didn't want to, I mean, I could have just ended it on that, but I wanted it to have this big grand thing, and I didn't really know where to go with it though. So when I was listening to the chords and the chords and the arp going, I sort of felt like, here, let me just mute this real quick. I sort of felt like the chords almost sounded like a choir in a way, you know. I felt like a human voice would really fit well with this thing. I was like, but it's supposed to be like this synthwave, synthy, whatever, right? You can't put choir in synthwave. But then I was like, well, screw it, you know, whatever. Let's see how it works. So that's what I did. I added choir. I added a choir. That's what this little section here is. Again, just mirroring the chords, basically. Oh, this is from Omnisphere, by the way, which is an expensive plugin, but it has just a ton of samples. Really good for like keyboard stuff, because I mean, it still samples, so the keyboards sort of naturally sound more realistic than, say, you know, the choir, for example. But if you're just looking for like background, like a pad of human voice, basically, really good for that too. And this is controlled by the velocity, so if you have the velocity higher, they'll sound more like forceful. They won't be so, like, this basically sounds like humming, right? But if you turn the velocity up, it'll sound like ah. So yeah. Oh, perfect. That's a higher velocity. Maybe just turn that. No, that's not what I wanted. And this is the men's choir, so they can't go too high, but yeah. Anyway, that's what this is. This is the choir. We got the men's choir, and we got the women's choir down here accompanying. So I added that, and then like that goes along with the ARP, which builds up and builds up and builds up, and then the sub comes in with it. So that all builds up, this big crescendo, and then sub, obviously, but then the big finish with the choir. I bring the chords back in for some pad. And that's the big finish, but I still felt like I could use some more stuff, you know, because I already added choir. I mean, what's to stop me from adding other things that technically don't belong in synthwave and chillwave? Oh, this up here is just the little thing, so more of that. Again, just to fill out the top end and have some ear candy, if you want to call it that. So I was like, I could add what at the beginning? I could add violins. I could add little, like, I could have them do little plucks. That'd be cool. Pizzicato. Yeah, there's some automation here, so it comes in slowly. And this is a great plugin called Nucleus. That's what it's called, and it's from Native Instruments. It works with their Contact player, and it's such a great plugin. So you have all your strings. It's just like a bank of violins, violas, cellos, or you can have like some combination of the two, or just the full ensemble, have them all playing at once, basically. But then they also have brass. They got trumpets, French horns. Like, it's just a little mini orchestra that you can do whatever you want with. Timpani, marimba, xylophone, glockenspiel, which is such a fun word to say. I could have used the choir for this as well, I suppose, but I wanted to use the Omnisphere one. Or you can have soloists, so you can have a solo violin, solo cello, flute, oboe. It's just such a cool, like, it's samples, and under scrutiny it can kind of sound like samples, but if you do enough with it, you can really make it sound like the real thing. Although the pizzicato one is just great out of the box. You don't have to do anything to it. This is stock. Like, it's perfect. And then over here, this one that I muted earlier, this is also Nucleus, and it's the cello. Yeah, I wanted it to be this like big sweeping like romantic orchestral style thing. But yeah, that's just the cello, or cellos rather. Yeah, six celli, and they're set to legato, so it's all nice and smooth. I did adjust the sample start time because they were kind of like, I don't know, that they weren't rushing. Obviously, like, it's set notes, but the way the samples started had more of a ramp up to the note than I wanted, so I cut that. I tried to cut that down a bit. But yeah, it sounds like Nucleus just sounds great. Why can't we play? Oh, because it's muted. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, again, like, under scrutiny, you can tell it's not a real person playing, but with everything else, it works. It's so good. So yeah, I added the violin plucks at the beginning. I added the cello little solo thing here, while during the little wind down part going into the ARP section. And then I also added, to the big finale, I added French horns. And also from Nucleus, a little timpani crescendo, which is just a single note because that's how it works. But they just have, so for the timpani section, you can have a single hit or a sustained roll, and you can let it go as far as you want. Or they have these little preset crescendos, so you'll have it last 1 second, 2 seconds, or 4 seconds, and that's what I did at the 4-second one. And it was perfect. I couldn't be happier with that. And then I added these little samples. This is actually the only sample, I mean, aside from the drums, I suppose, but this is the only like sample that I straight up like drag and dropped in here. Oh, good, it's saving things. Sorry, it froze for a second while it was saving. Did I mention this track broke my computer? I ran out. It had some problem and it started having a memory leak. Every time I tried to open it, it would just fill up my RAM and I couldn't open it. Even now, this thing is taking 22 gigabytes of RAM because there's still something wrong with it. The project file is literally like 2.3 gigs or something. It's insane. Broke my computer. Anyway, yeah, I had the violins, I had the cellos, I added the French horn, timpani, this little gong sample, just for added emphasis on the beats here. And then after that, the only thing I needed to add was this. The beginning section felt a little bit empty to me, so I got this thing here, which was the last thing I added. It was another thing from Contact. This is actually a free, where is it? Is it Play Series? Analog Dreams, Play Series, yep. So this is a free thing that came with the Contact player, actually. And it's... Oh, that little bit of just distortion. Or not distortion, but like warbling in the pitch. It's so good. So yeah, I found this. I was like, that's a cool sound. I didn't do too much to it, I don't think. I think you can like change these out. I forget how though. Oh yeah, that was the presets. Oberbass. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember all that I did. I didn't do too much though. So I just took that and I just had it do another arp, another arpeggiation. I did that in this section though. This is just the built-in FL Studio plug-in back end. I don't know what they call it, but you can do a bunch of stuff to any plug-in with this. It works with some better than others. But yeah, I just had the arpeggio go down, and it's just a simple range. And I didn't. You can actually come in here and well, don't want to do slide. You can come in here and tell it to do a specific chord based off the starting note, or if you just leave it on auto, it will. If you give it multiple notes to play, it'll arpeggiate between those notes. So I just pulled up the chords, added a couple extra notes so that there would be 6, because that fit with the timing better, and so I put that at the beginning, and it's just got a little the little last bit, it just goes, it's a little ba-dum to get us to the lead, just to pass it off basically. And I did some automation just to keep it from getting boring basically. So there's, again, just so there's change throughout, so it's not quite so static. Then also I added it to the end, the big finale at the end, and it's just doing the same thing with the main chords. Which... Whoops. Hold on. How many of these are duplicated? I did not notice that until just now. I wondered why it did that, but I liked it, so I didn't even care. Because it's playing this note twice and then playing that note twice. I didn't even notice. Because I was like, oh, that's cool. That sounds great. Let's keep it. Oh, man. Yeah, watch out for duplicate notes in your project files, apparently. Even if they're just happy accidents. So yeah, at the end here... Oh my god, that's awesome. Well, especially because, like, with everything else playing at once, you can only sort of hear this, but it almost sounds like strings, actually. It's kind of, well, maybe that's just, like, set up from the other strings, priming me to think it sounds like strings, but it kind of it kind of sounds like a section of violins, like, doing eighth notes of the main chord notes just descending. I never noticed that. That's awesome. Okay. So yeah, that's the whole track, pretty much. Here, let's just hear the major points in context with everything, I suppose. In hindsight, I probably could have put choir here too. That probably would have fit. I could have put less reverb on this and filled it out with a choir, but yeah. So yeah, that's it. Oh, it's saving again. There it goes. I can't believe I never noticed that. That's so funny. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't really go into a lot of what I did over in the mixer over here, just because, yeah, again, I'm not organized at all. But that's okay. I mean, this isn't that complex of a piece anyway, so I do have one that I'm working on that I am organizing everything because I know it's going to be a lot by the end. So I didn't want to get lost, and it's already come in handy because I took like a 5-month break from working on it. So getting back into it, I was able to see exactly what things were. I could just read it, so that was nice. But yeah, I guess that goes back in the disclaimer of this is just my way of doing things that I figured out. I'm not some guru at FL Studio. My way might not be the best way, but it does work most of the time. It gets results. So yeah, that is Orchestrate in its entirety. Had to stretch there. Yeah, if you liked the video, leave it a like, leave a comment. Thanks to Domestic Terrorist for requesting this. This was fun to revisit. I'm glad my computer can open this project file again. I actually upgraded my RAM since then. I'm figuring that was what fixed it, because yeah, it ate up. It ate up all of my RAM. Either that or there was like an update to FL Studio or something. I don't really know, but that I freaked out because like when I was the last week I was working on this, I started to notice like, hey, this is taking like 10 minutes just to load, and it's taking like a full minute to save, which is odd. Especially because I don't feel like I have that much stuff, and there's not even like a lot of samples. So, like, this is the only sample. Like I said, this is the only sample, aside from the drums. Everything else is just plugins and, like, MIDI data. So, what is taking up so much space? And then the day before last, when I worked on it, again, took 10 minutes to load. And the next day I got in to like finalize everything and then go to mastering, and it wouldn't open, and I freaked out. It's like I can't. I put so much work into this, and it's so good. I can't possibly recreate it like this. It was basically done. I can't recreate the whole thing from memory. There's no way. But I managed to get it open, and I worked on it all that morning. I just kept the project file open. And like, I took it, I would adjust things, I'd like adjust things, render it, put it on my phone, listen to it with a couple pairs of headphones, take it out to my car, listen to it in my car speakers, like take notes of what else I wanted to adjust. I'd come back in, make the adjustment, render again, listen to it, come back, make the adjustments, and I did that for like 4 hours. It was a Saturday. I did that for like 4 hours on a Saturday. And I got to where I wanted to go. I did the final export, made sure it was good, and then I saved it and closed the project file, and I didn't open it again because I knew there was no way it was going to happen. But yeah, I don't know what it was. I don't know if quadrupling my RAM capacity since then. I'm running 64 gigs now. I don't know if that's what did it, but I can open it up again. And when I saw the request from Domestic Terrorist, I was like, hey, I can probably do that now. So let's see. And here we are. So yeah, thank you to Domestic Terrorist again. And hope you liked the video. Hope you learned something. You said you wanted sort of a tutorial, so I guess if you want me to do more tutorials in the future, if this was somehow actually helpful to you, then just let me know. Leave a comment. I will try to do something else. Thanks for watching.